The director of the Center for African Diplomacy and Leadership at the University of Johannesburg, Professor Chris Landsberg, says the world has entered into dangerous, unpredictable post-Cold War era. In his latest article, Landsberg says that NATO is triggering the war between Russia and Ukraine. He further accuses G7 countries of trying to push China into war, but says the country is unlikely to enter this arena. These are very uncertain times, and the Prof joins us now. Landsberg, Professor Landsberg, good afternoon. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. We live in an uncharted world. I mean, you use the new term, uncharted. It's turbulent, it's anarchic, and it's combustible. I mean, those are very, very big, powerful words. I mean, how dangerous is today's world?
I think it's very dangerous, Dan. I think if there's one legacy that arguably the most seasoned and most experienced politician in American politics today, President Joe Biden, will leave, like his predecessors, Eisenhower and the like. I think he's going to literally leave, whether during a first term or second term, a more combustible world. It is clear that the legacy of President Biden is not just to restore the pride of NATO and what I call the Western liberal order, but to push the frontiers of this Western liberal order. And if he could have his way, he would like to remake the world in America's image. The problem is there are other great powers, and China definitely stands out. That's why it's uncharted. We've not been down a road where China has been such a great power. Russia has been a bogey for a long time. And make no mistake, Dan, just like America has this hegemonic ambition in the world, the one to want to set the rules for others. China and Russia also harbors such ambitions. At the moment, at least, China seems to go about it in a much more pacific, peaceful, accommodating way. Uncharted, undoubtedly.
Yeah, I mean, you say in your article that the G7 triggered the Russian invasion of Ukraine because they provoked Russia. And what we're seeing today is also an attempt to provoke China into war in the Chinese Straits. I mean, I remember just a few weeks ago, there was issues about military maneuvers around Taiwan, for example.
Sure. So then let's just do a brief bit of history here. President Putin has now been in power for just over 2 decades. As he became power, replacing then President Yeltsin, he put on notice his concerns about attempts by the West to expand eastward. Remember, there was the dramatic fall of the Berlin Wall, followed by the disintegration of the Soviet Union, and that's why I invoke that concept, the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, and the like. But President Putin put a notice to the West. He is concerned about the West's and NATO's almost determination to expand eastward to the frontier of Russia. Then we saw the first wave of about 7 former Eastern Bloc countries joining NATO. Then another 4 years later. Then 3 more, and so on. Before, of course, there was the conflict in 2014 that President Putin should take a lot of responsibility for the conflict with Ukraine. This is the second conflict with Ukraine. But that President Putin has warned that this is an existential threat to Russia. There is no doubt about that. That's why I'm not scared to say it. He caused the war. He went to the war. He decided to send troops over the border of Ukraine. But was he provoked? Indeed, he was provoked. And I have no doubt in my mind that by going to Hiroshima and to quote the words of British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, that I quoted in the piece, China presents the greatest threat of our generation. I mean, if that's not a provocation, I don't know what is a provocation. Let me be clear there. Russia and China, just like America, these documents that I invoked in my piece, they also have national security doctrines. And China goes as far as saying that America is bent on dominating us. And if they want to play this game, then we will start the process of preparing to dominate America. And let's then fill in the blanks and the dots there. What follows next?
No, Chris,
Asia, dominating the world. So
yeah, I wish we had more time, because I wanted us to talk about where does South Africa fit in, how does South Africa manage these shifting global alliances. But we've run out of time. We will make time to pursue that angle of where does South Africa fit in there? How do you navigate these shifting alliances in this uncharted world era we live in? Thank you very much, Professor Chris Landsberg. He's, of course, the director of the Center for African Diplomacy and Leadership at the University of Johannesburg. More news coming up at the top of the hour with the latest headlines.